Hey everyone, Swag here with another Destiny 2 video. Today we're going to talk about the unwritten rules of raiding.
These nuts?
Yes, that's right. This noob is going to discuss what makes a decent raider and also what makes your raid party hate your fucking guts. Before we move in though, do note this is a personal list, so if you have anything to add, just leave it in a comment below and also let me know what your favorite raid is. Alright, let's first answer the question, what is a raid? Raids are instances of a game with exceptionally hard to master mechanics and difficult to beat bosses. More often than not, these raids require a large number of players depending on the game to coordinate, take on different roles and or divide into smaller teams to complete the objectives thrown at them. Raids are also often referred to as the end game in most games. So now that we all understand this, let's go over the 10 unwritten rules of raiding. Rule number 1, be on time. There's literally nothing worse to me personally than agreeing upon a time and place and having that one person be late to the raid, or have multiple people be late without sending any notice beforehand. Now I get it, life happens and sometimes for the dumbest of reasons you can't make it on time. However, at least letting your raid buddies or team know beforehand makes sure they know how long it'll approximately take for you to get there or to look for someone else to fill in. There's nothing wrong with being late 1 to 2 times, but if it becomes a repeating occurrence, that might be the reason why raid teams drop you out. Rule number 2, be ready. Tying into rule number 1 is to be ready to raid. Whatever you needed to do, like eat dinner, walk your dog, take a shit, whatever, make sure you've done these things beforehand so your raid buddies don't have to wait an hour for you to chug down your food or for you to do your groceries, etc. Of course, toilet breaks are a thing and nobody will get mad at you if you need to do something important in the middle of a raid. Just make sure you don't have to let the 5 other people in your team wait for something you could have done before or after raid time. Rule number 3, let the Sherpa speak. I'm gonna tell you there's close to nothing more frustrating than people talking over each other during a Sherpa run. Especially when the Sherpa is explaining some important mechanics. Sherpa runs are there to teach new guardians the ins and outs or basic mechanics of a raid or dungeon. So if you have an appointed Sherpa, make sure you're paying attention, and if you already know what's up, then either mute yourself, be quiet, or use text chat to communicate when you absolutely need to. I personally had the absolute pleasure of having 3 amazing and very patient Sherpas. Shout out to Squishy Fish, Flying Davis, and Ezzy.
Somewhere deep down in my heart, I love you. Fuck you!
But we've had people talk over those Sherpas or taking over the role of a Sherpa when not asked for, which led to people just shouting or me losing my patience and telling people to shut the fuck up. So in essence, listen to your Sherpa. They take time out of their day to teach you the encounters. Hold them dear. Rule number 4, know your limits. During raids, while people are switching their mods, having a smoke break or listening to the Sherpa, etc., it's always good fun to fuck around, push people off the ledges, eager edge or shield bash them into walls and so on. Now while that is fun every now and then, there are some guardians who take it to the extreme and slap your cheeks off a ledge or against the wall.
Get shit on! Your ass!
Every chance they get, which is hilarious the first time, it's funny the second time, the third time gets annoying, and after the 4th time it's just stupid and hinders your progression in the raid or gets people riled up because they just want to chill and not have a visual overload of death flashes and revive animations. When someone asks you to stop, be a good little guardian, do it one more time for good measure, and then stop. That accounts for many things, and it's really just up to decent normal human behavior, but hey, some guardians don't even know what grass is anymore, so I found it worthwhile to cover. Rule number 5 would be raid banners. When you're raiding, you'll often find the use of raid banners pretty important. Not only do they give you max ammo, but also fill your super bar and gets your team ready for the inevitable ass clapping of some random raid boss. Now, first off, whenever you're joining a raid, it's always a good idea to top up on some banners. However, the real reason this even makes the list is if you fuck up an encounter, you should 100% try to be the next banner placer. Obviously, this isn't a huge deal, but it's more a courtesy thing and signals to your team that you know you fucked up. If someone else is faster, fuck it. You made the effort, enjoy your free raid banner. Rule number 6, be nice. Yep. It feels a little dumb to have this on a list of unwritten raid rules, but the amount of people I've met via LFG who are straight douchebags is incredible. Anything from random screaming, getting mad when something doesn't go 100% perfect, to straight up disconnecting when you fail an encounter once. It's not that hard to be considerate of your other raid buddies and to keep your cool.
Why don't we just relax and turn on the radio?
Plus, if you're going to sweat it and expect a flawless run from an LFG group, then I really don't know what to say to you, man. Rule number 7, switching roles. So let's say we've been running a raid 3 to 4 times now, and you've probably had the ad clear role for most of those clears. You've had a Sherpa run, or maybe even 2, and you're fairly confident in the way the mechanics work. This means it's time for you to try out different roles, or at the very least learn a new role, so you're able to run the raid even when one of your current raid buddies can't do their normal task. Obviously, there is no shame in not doing what to do the first few times, but after a few times it's kind of expected of you to do more than just ad clear. It takes a massive load from your fire team's shoulders, especially the more experienced ones, when you're able to participate in the mechanics and, for example, help out should one of your teammates die. Instead of wiping and having to start all over, you're the star of the show now because you saved the encounter. Rule number 8, know what to do runs. Know what to do runs are a funny thing. They're a breeding ground for fairly toxic behavior and or elitism, especially when know what to do is followed up with something like 100 clears minimum, etc., and the whole list of that Discord is full with it. However, there is also a somewhat valid reason behind all that. When you're participating in know what to do raid groups, it's expected of you to, at the very least, know how to do 2 roles in every raid. Now preferably you know every encounter and can play any role necessary, but as a very minimum, knowing 2 roles is often more than enough. Now these runs are not Sherpa runs, they are not educational runs, often they're not loosey-goosey, they're there to clear a raid, preferably in a quick manner, and farm loot. Joining know what to do runs should be considered carefully as to not waste a ton of time of 5 people who are just looking for a quick farm. Rule number 9, Sherpa's wisdom. As a Sherpa you have one of, if not the coolest role in a raid. You get to teach someone who's probably never run said raid the mechanics, maybe even some lore, and introduce them to what I personally consider the content with the most fun potential. Having said that, it's probably also somewhat of a nerve-wracking role because it's almost expected of you to know the ins and outs of a raid like the back of your hand, which brings us to a very important topic when it comes to being a Sherpa. If you don't know everything, that is totally okay. Sherpaing is a very broad topic and needs some practice, you can forget stuff, yada yada. Just be upfront and transparent about it, and one of your other raid buddies might fill in with some missing info. There's close to nothing worse as a new player or newbie raider than a Sherpa who's either constantly wrong or doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Which sounds arrogant as fuck, I agree, but if you assign yourself as a Sherpa, there will be some expectations, so make sure you're in the clear with your fire team about that. Rule number 10, cheers and applause. Let's say you spent the last 3 hours going over mechanics, having the hardest time against some of the strongest enemies in the game, and you finally get that clear. You finally did it, as a team. This deserves some recognition. Be happy, get excited and congratulate your team. Then do it all over again, but faster. And do that all over again, but faster. And do that all over again, but faster. Honorable mentions, no classism allowed. We get it, you love playing Hunter or you really just don't enjoy playing Warlock. That's all fine and dandy, but man oh man, do you need to switch off to a different class sometimes just to suit the current lineup for the raid? For the benefit of the team?
Do it! Just do it!
It's like one encounter's worth of time you play on a non-favorite character, and all in all it's really not that bad. Not doing so only tells your teammates that you're not willing to make compromises or simply don't care about the entire aspect of raiding together enough to help your team in times of need. That sums up the 10 unwritten raid rules I personally find most important to be discussed with any solid raiding team. Thank you very much for watching. If you did like the video and agree with some of my points, do leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. It helps out the channel immensely. Now have a good one, Guardians. Later.